Hi everyone, we're back again, and today we got a couple of different topics to talk about. But I think the first thing we're going to talk about is I don't know if you saw, Mel. I read an article about 2 days ago. An 87-year-old woman. She was an obsessive hoarder, and she's been found underneath a mountain of clutter at the cottage which she shared with her daughter. Basically, obviously, she's found dead. She's not just been found there, and that's a new story. She's actually dead.
Yeah.
So I know we've seen a few. I think they call it Hoarders, the program, don't they?
Yeah.
And I just wanted to discuss that with you, really, because.
I've had experience with hoarders because it's sort of running my family. To be honest, it was my grandmother. She was a serious hoarder. She had, in the end, she had two houses. She filled the first one to the brink, and then she managed to have another house, and she managed to fill that pretty quick. And it wasn't just, collecting stuff or buying stuff. It was more rubbish side of it.
You see, that's what I can't get. I mean, I don't really get hoarding full stop. But the thought of somebody collecting stuff, I can kind of understand.
They're like collectors, isn't it? But too extreme.
There can be a fine line.
Messy way of it.
Yeah, there can be a really fine line between a collector and a hoarder. And, you get people who have houses full of like Star Wars stuff. But hoarders, or proper obsessive hoarders, they seem to collect absolute rubbish. And I mean like old newspapers, dirty towels, off food.
It's like they can't throw rubbish out.
Yeah.
They can't throw rubbish away. So it's they say it's like a comfort. And to be honest, the hoarder is a mental illness, and I think it's become more common because I see it a lot more as in, like sometimes you either walk or drive past a house, and if they don't have blinds or curtains, you sometimes see a stack of stuff built in the window, and you think, well, why would you do that? Why would you show the outside that you've got a load of stuff in that room, say? We're not saying you can't see the whole house, but you can see in that room, and you think to yourself, my God, that is a messy place straight away. That's a hoarder. Yeah.
And like this story, it sort of blows my mind to some degree. It's like, this 87-year-old woman's been found dead. She was living there with her daughter, would you believe? A 56-year-old daughter.
Who's been brought up with it, because with hoarders, it's sometimes triggered or it is inherited, and if she's been brought up like that, she wouldn't know anything different, so she's lived in it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I suppose she's sort of grown up with it. She sees that as normal, perhaps.
Yeah.
But surely there must, I suppose I find it difficult because it's not something I've ever encountered really in my life. But the thought, to me, it seems like at some point you must think, hang on, this isn't right. None of my friends do it. Nobody I know does it.
It's
my family.
It's like a secrecy, it's behind closed doors. It's like the saying is, you don't know what happens behind closed doors.
Yeah.
But sometimes when, like in my experience, especially when it comes to a dirty hoarder that, pisses in bottles and shits in buckets and all that.
Talk to me about that. That's just...
And that, they've filled up their toilet and things like that. You smell them. You can smell, me personally from experience, you can smell a hoarder.
So with this may seem like a really dull thing to say, but with hoarding then, is there are they mentally dirty? Like you get some dirty people, don't you? They're messy and their house is dirty.
They probably don't see it. they probably don't see that they're dirty. They just see, I need to keep that. That I can't get rid of that. I need that here. I need that around me. It's like a comfort blanket.
It's like the whole toilet thing. I say that really does blow my mind.
They don't smell it.
It's
they
like,
don't. So if they don't smell it, they don't see it as bad.
How do you even get to the point though where your toilet is such bad condition that it's filled to the brim with shit?
I think they just don't care.
I suppose that's better than saying dirty. Is that they really don't give a damn about anything, do they?
No, when you see a hoarder's house, you can see the condition of the house. Like, it could be, load of mould or what have you, and like you say, the toilets are blocked up. They can't use the kitchen. They can't get to the kitchen sink. They can't use the bath or the shower. They don't care.
Yeah.
And they can't see. I think because they live in it every day, it's the same as when they see bugs. That I can't. Oh, the thought of bugs or cockroaches. Yet they can still live like that, and I'm just. It's like they oblivious from it.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, we have seen some of the programs on it that they show, and I think one of the things you say about bugs reminds me. One of the things I really makes me sort of physically ill is when they got them. They've got a massive hoard, and then they've got 30 cats.
Yeah, that comes then of hoarding animals, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the first thing when I see programs like that, what the smell would be like.
I say the smell must be horrendous, but what always gets me is that they always say about how much they love these cats or dogs or whatever animal it is they've got. But they're all in such bad shape.
The thing is, they don't see it as they're being cruel. They see in that because they are in the house with them, that, they're not stray cats, they're not, loose, or they're not in a pen ready to be killed or whatever. They see it, that they are being looked after. It's something that they can't see, that what they are doing wrong or is not right.
Yeah, so they kind of see it that they're saving the pet.
Yeah.
Or the cat or whatever, and realistically what they're actually doing is condemning it to one horrendous life.
Oh, well, they end up having illnesses, and some of them have to be put down because of the condition they've been lived in,
It's just horrendous. And as say, going back to before we said about that, you were saying about bugs and stuff and the dirt, and you see them like they've got like the tiniest of space to sit down.
I'd be claustrophobic.
I'd say, and then there's bugs crawling all over it, and I just can't imagine living in that situation.
Do you know what I can't understand with hoarders? I can understand that they spend and they have too much clothes, too much ornaments, too much this. It's like an obsessive collector that's having far too much. I don't understand the part of the dirtiness when it comes to rubbish. No. And when you see them in the programs, they just like walk on rubbish, and I'm just like, you're there, pick it up, put it in the bin, and put it outside.
Yeah.
I just don't understand. I think if you just took just make sure the rubbish are out, it wouldn't be so bad.
Yeah. I mean, I say literally all of them, especially the ones who really hoard like the rubbish and stuff. Whenever they go into their houses on the shows, it's like they are literally not walking on the floor. They're walking on 2 foot of newspaper clippings and old tin cans, and that's another thing you've said about it in the past. In America, you can like take plastic bottles and cans and things in and trade them in for money or food or something, can't you?
Yeah, but then again, see, they just don't care that they get money for it. Does that make sense? Because you see some of them, they have like lots of, when they hoard outside, they have lots of scrap metal, and they keep saying, I can get money for that, But they don't actually do anything about it.
I I say I'll never get my head round it. But one thing I want to ask as well is, do you feel then that it can? You said earlier about how it can run in the family. Can it go the other way then?
What do you mean?
Well, I'm going to use you as an example now. You hate anything. I mean, you should see our house. It is minimalist to the extreme.
Well, that's possible. I could have it more minimalist, but yeah.
Yeah.
Compared to a hoarders, it is.
It is minimalist. You know, we got furniture that we could use, and that's it, really. So, is it because you grew up in that?
I've seen, yes.
Seen it.
I've seen it. I've lived in it. I know the stress that is involved in it. I know the smell. I don't want to have somebody, smelling me because I've got rubbish at home and things like that. I'm just more paranoid. And then I'm determined not to be like that.
Yeah. I'm really sorry. I know I'm laughing now whilst you're talking, but it's because obviously whilst we're talking, we research at the same time and about things to discuss. And I've actually just come across one site, and it's saying the worst hoarders in history, that they'll make you puke, and it almost did make me puke. It doesn't give a name or anything. It just says 33 condoms full of semen.
I think that's some sort of fetish.
In some parts of Africa, semen is sometimes hoarded to keep bad spirits at bay. In 2011, 3 Zimbabwe women ages 24, and 26 were arrested for raping. Where is this story going? Raping at least 17 men. They kept their man seed inside their car.
Maybe it's the same tradition, but nobody knows that's why they piss in buckets and shit and to keep the demons away.
Maybe so. Can you imagine how bad that car must have smelt and been?
Would they been crusty though, and hard like ice?
I would
or
imagine.
something.
Oh, that is disgusting.
That mess. Oh.
So a bit of a side note, I'm afraid, but when you
let's
scroll
get
across
away
that...
from that and stop searching anymore in case you find something even more worse than that, which I can't imagine, but probably you may.
Yeah, back to the the normal hoarders.
Yeah.
There's just literally nothing that people won't hoard, is there?
Do you know, I think the reason I say hoarders have gone worse is because things like charity shops, car boot sales, or in America, as you call it, yard sales, they become more popular. And also, I think the way how the money situation is today as well, things are a bit tight on the money side. So I think if you can find something cheap, you buy it anyway if you don't really need it and things. And also, I find when people say, oh, what is your leisure activities, a lot of people will turn around and say, the first thing they say is shopping. And that's part of it. And people just love shopping and don't realise how much stuff they're having.
Do you think maybe hoarding as well has expanded so much in recent years due to the internet?
Yes, because like on YouTube's, well, I've seen a few YouTubes, and I also look at the same people all the time, and it's amazing to me how many times these people shop in these shops. It doesn't have to be the one specific shop, it could be numerous, and they just buy and buy and buy, and I'm just thinking, well, where do you put all this stuff?
Yeah, I say they must have houses full, because you've shown me some of the videos, and they can post like a couple of times a week, and they've brought like 40, 50 items.
Yeah, I understand some of them are like food shopping or like household, bleachers and stuff. But a lot of them always say, oh, homeware, and I'm like, well, where do you put all that homeware? It's amazing the amount of homeware they buy. And also, it's with, you know, when it's like Easter or when it's Mothering Sunday or when it's Christmas, the amount of decorations people buy every year.
Yeah.
They don't just buy one, or they don't just buy one off and then that should last you for next 5 years.
No.
They keep buying every year.
And I think, all part of this consumerism really, isn't it? That we're just obsessed with shopping.
Yeah, it's like I say, it's more of a leisure now,
Yeah.
and people just don't see how obsessed they are.
But it's to the extent where now, obviously we're recording this now just a week before Easter. We get people coming into the shop that I work in, and they're buying people Easter presents. Now, when I say that, I want you all to know, I don't work in an egg or chocolate egg shop. I work in a normal clothing retail shop, and people are coming in and saying, "Oh, I'm buying my friends an Easter present, or my family member." Who buys their friend an Easter present? And if you do buy them an Easter present, why is it not an egg?
It's gone a bit novelty, unnecessary novelty.
Yeah.
It's a reason for them to buy, to be honest, I personally think. It's like when I was younger, it was just literally chocolates I was having. Now, you can see what the parents are buying. It's not just the chocolates. They have to buy them the decoration. They have to buy bags with it. They have to buy a game with it. They have to buy colouring books with pens. They have to...
Yeah.
And it's like, well, where do you stop?
To me, I don't get it, see, because things like... It's literally, as you say, where do you stop? Because once upon a time, Easter to me especially, has always just been a chocolate egg.
And how many you could get.
How many you could get and
Yeah.
eat without feeling sick before the end of the day.
Yeah.
Perhaps if you were lucky when you were young, you got to go on an egg hunt.
I think I had money once.
Okay,
Or quite a few
fair enough.
times.
And then you had like a Sunday lunch. Not quite a Christmas dinner, but you'd have probably lamb or something like that for a Sunday lunch. And that was celebrating Easter. Now it's like presents.
And how much presents you can get.
Yeah. And where's that come from?
Do you think maybe it's from adverts?
It could well be.
And also, YouTube, people showing stuff on YouTube, and it's like tempting people.
Yeah, everybody is tempted to buy things now because they're faced with it every day. Or maybe it's Facebook.
Facebook is another
They've
one.
been selling all of our data to gain adverts, and the adverts are making us buy things.
Just social media, really.
It's Facebook's fault, people.
Yeah.
You gotta delete Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm not promoting deleting anything, by the way, in case anybody wants to try.
But can I just say, what's this got to do with hoarding?
I have no idea. We've gone completely far away from hoarding, but there we go.
But yeah, back to the hoarding. It's a mental illness, and I think it needs to be known more.
Oh, 100%.
Because it is a lot more common.
It's a lot more common than a lot of people think. It's like, I remember, again, that program that you saw, it used to say at the beginning, didn't it? There are like 1 million hoarders in America. And now it says something like there's 60 million hoarders.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's a big leap. And it's only now, I think, people are starting to realise, you know what? If you're not a hoarder, there's probably somebody a couple of doors down from you who is.
Or you know somebody
Yeah.
who is. Or they give a telltale sign, really.
Yeah.
But...
Whoever stinks in your friend circle...
Oh, that's a bit harsh.
needs a wash.
Do you know the smell as well? It's not just mold. It's like something's gone off.
It's probably their piss and shit.
No, I know that, but it's like as if you've come from a tip.
It's like you're rotting, maybe.
Oh no, because I don't know what rotten flesh smells like.
Well, okay, as a guess, what can I say?
Yeah, it's just like a stale smell, but a different kind of stale smell, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not a typical stale smell. It's there's a little bit different to that. And also it's the way people it doesn't always necessarily mean how they dress either, because you'd be surprised, the hoarders, and they are immaculate when they're outside. So, like I said, you don't know what happens behind closed doors.
Very true. You don't know what happens. I mean, I'll be honest. If I was to pick a hoarder, I would always pick the guy or woman who looked like the homeless person.
Yeah, you would.
You know, you just think, oh, they're going to be scruffy, they're going to be dirty. And I suppose you're right. They're not necessarily going to be that on the outside, are they?
No.
Whereas the woman who lives next door to my father, who we suspect is a hoarder.
Oh, I know she's a hoarder. For definite.
But whenever according to my dad, I've not actually seen her, but she always looks very presentable whenever she goes into the house.
That's the thing, Sam.
And it's just once she's in there that she's then wading around in.
And
shit.
also, these programs, especially the ones in America, you see, that they have a lot of mess outside the house.
Yeah.
But not all hoarders have mess outside. It's all literally behind the closed doors.
I think the ones who seem to have the most mess outside are the ones who own more property, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and also they just don't care that they should. Because, like, back to what I said, sometimes people just pile things in the window. They just don't care.
No, very true. They
so if they've got it outside as well, it's like to say, look, I'm a hoarder.
Yeah. Look at me, everybody.
Yeah. So.
That's your view on hoarding.
Yeah, it's definitely a mental illness, and.
Well, I tell you what. Anybody want to make a comment or let us know anything about their hoarding experiences? Are you a hoarder and want to talk to us and explain why you hoard? Get in contact, leave a comment, let us know.